right. Hey, everybody. It's Kyle and Kevin for another fun episode of How to Be a Texan. How you doing today, Kevin? I just wanted to pump up the energy.
I'm doing all right.
Oh, come on. We just got...
What is life?
Hey, here we go. Hey, come on now. Come on.
Happy birthday?
Happy.
I think not.
Oh, jeez. Hey, it's the three of us today. It's me, Kevin, and our buddy Andrew.
Andrew in the control room.
Yep.
Spinning discs.
Oh, jeez. You're going with that again.
Keeping the platters balanced.
Yeah, I'm making sure the tape on the reel-to-reel is okay.
That's why the audio quality is so good on this podcast. It's recorded on real tape, analog tape.
That's good.
4-track reel-to-reel with spring reverb.
I have no idea what
Hear that
is.
spring?
No.
Springa.
Don't know what that is. Today, we're going to talk about something a little mundane, but it can be fun. However, mostly maddening, and it's traffic. Yeah, so we're going to talk about traffic in Texas, how we rank against other states, and then how good or bad we are, and then just kind of funny whatever. We'll just talk kind of talk about life in Texas because it's a big deal. Driving around, we have to drive around, and how is it? If you're moving here, if you live here, how is it?
And you have to drive around here.
You have to.
We're not like other states where there's decent mass transit.
No.
You pretty much have to drive.
So let's start with that first. Of course, we have Uber, we have cabs, we have buses, we have Greyhounds, we have, trains that go back and forth in the big cities.
Greyhound, man, I hadn't ridden a Greyhound since I was a kid. You
know what? They've got this cool executive bus. I just heard about it. I go down to Houston all the time, and there's this cool bus. You can get on it in Dallas, and it's $150 or something, and you ride down to Houston, which is a lot of money for a bus ticket. But anyway, it's some super posh. They got Wi-Fi the
high-end
whole way.
First class. That's a great idea.
Yeah, from Dallas to
$150
Houston.
is nothing.
Well, it's a lot
cheaper than a flight. Well, it's cheaper than a flight down there.
Well, you're a high roller.
I guess so.
That's a lot of money to
Last time I rode a Greyhound bus, my grandma literally put me on the bus by myself.
Oh, man.
Did you ever do that?
No.
Oh.
That's
I did that
frightening.
several times.
That's very scary.
I was too young to even be scared. I didn't even know how scary it was.
That reminds me of Red in Shawshank Redemption. You remember that? Where he had to get on that bus to whatever?
Yep. That's how it was.
Anyway,
Greyhound bus.
Yeah. I've never, I don't even think I've ridden on a Greyhound bus ever. That's the only time you've ever been on one?
That I remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other times you're too drunk, you're going backwards. Anyway. Yeah, see?
Grandma was so drunk she was walking backwards.
Always.
Grandma was so drunk.
Or Kevin. So mass transit here in Texas is a little tricky. There's a lot of attempts in Dallas and Houston and even San Antonio for mass transit, but it's tough. It just doesn't really work here, does it?
No.
Just hasn't been adopted.
We weren't designed with that in mind.
No.
And so it's hard to go back and retrofit something like that in.
Right.
And especially when you got all the sprawl that we do too.
There's so much sprawl.
Yeah.
Because it's a pain for me even to think about doing that Dallas to Houston executive bus because I'm 34 miles outside of downtown Dallas. And then if they took me to downtown Houston, the office, the three places I would go to in Houston are 25 to 32 miles away from downtown. Mm-hmm. So it's a total pain.
Yeah.
So it's an hour to get down, 4 hours to get down in the bus, and then another hour to get out.
Yeah.
So it's a whip.
Yeah, that's a beating.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Houston's just close enough, though, that sometimes flying is a pain.
It is a pain, but I do it.
Yeah.
Because it's such a pain to drive through traffic. You have to get up at 4 a.m. to get down there for you're trying to get over Dallas traffic before traffic really lines up. And then you get down to Houston right in the heart of it.
Houston's horrible.
It is bad.
Yeah.
But you know what? Dallas is worse.
Really?
Yeah. So I did a little bit of research. I'm not very good at researching. But anyway, I looked up a couple of Google things. I asked Siri. She told me. She
I'm
said
shocked.
she said that Dallas was worse than Houston. I always thought Houston was the worst traffic.
Huh.
But you know what the benchmark is?
What?
Los Angeles.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
Yeah. And then they did all these studies. I saw this one study, and it said if you drive at 4 p.m. or at 10 p.m., how far can you get away in an hour? And it showed these kind of bands around Dallas or San Antonio, Austin, Dallas. They even said Midland, Texas was tough. But how far away can you get away in an hour?
Texas.
I know, I didn't understand that.
Fair to Midland.
There you go. But anyway, Los Angeles was by far where you couldn't get but like 20 miles in an hour at 4 o'clock, if that. But in Dallas, you could almost get up to the Red River. In Houston, you could get out to, close to Huntsville. San Antonio, you could get way further. At 4 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, you could get.
What about at 5 o'clock?
Well, they only did it at 4 p.m. and 10. I don't know. I didn't write the study. So anyway, the point is that traffic, if you live or are going to
Was Atlanta in that study? Do you happen to recall?
Oh,
Because
no,
Atlanta seems horrible.
So when you think about Dallas, I think it was like fifth or sixth worst. Bless you, Andrew. If you were in Dallas, it was in top 10 worst in the states. Atlanta, New York, Chicago, and L.A. were always top 4, but Dallas was like 6th, and Houston was 10th or so.
That's surprising. I always thought Houston was up in the top 3 or 4.
That's always the perception. But now they've got these, toll roads are everywhere now. Mm-hmm. Toll roads are a way of life now in Texas. In some other states, it's not that way. I just take it for granted that I'm going to hit these massive tolls. And now in North Dallas, you can go across North Dallas in 10 minutes, it feels like, on that canyon thing that they just built, which is pretty amazing.
635? That express, yeah, that thing's awesome.
Yeah.
That's like first class driving, man.
No, it is.
That's awesome.
And I promised Kevin I wouldn't talk about this, but I actually listened to this traffic engineering podcast.
Don't talk about it.
I did. I nerded out. These guys are Uber nerds. No offense, traffic engineer podcast.
Shout out to Uber.
No, not
no pun intended.
But these guys, they were talking about all, the clover leaf and the signage and, the traffic studies and all. Anyway, it was pretty interesting. But the cool thing that they did, there's some pretty amazing things that they've done with like that 635 Canyon as an example, where they basically bumped it out, added another 8 or 10 lanes by building it underneath it. Anyway, and making it a toll.
It's crazy cool.
Yeah. So
I'd pay for that toll.
Yeah.
Gladly.
To get across.
But then there's some that just annoy me.
Oh, most of them annoy me. And when I go to Florida, everything annoys me. Everything is toll in Florida.
Really?
Oh, my gosh. You go there and you get off and it's immediately a toll.
Yeah.
You can't get anywhere without a toll. You know what? And when I was driving back this summer from a trip we did to Colorado, instead of doing the straight through Amarillo and on to Dallas, I did this Kansas loop. I did a big L, an upside-down L. So I went all straight over east to Kansas and then straight down 35. And there was a toll on Interstate 35 in South Kansas. You couldn't – I thought it was an interstate.
That's ridiculous.
How can you toll an interstate? Kansas. That's why this is not called How to Be a Kansan.
I feel some road rage coming on.
Well, it made me mad.
Seeing red.
I did. It was a rental car, and I didn't have a toll tag, nor did I want to pay that crazy fee for rental car toll tags. So I couldn't get through there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I don't deal with traffic much. I used to when I worked in downtown Dallas. Every day I did the commute.
Oh, yeah.
That sucked. But I don't really have to do that now.
So I wanted to ask, when you did have to do traffic, what do you do to entertain yourself?
Back then?
No,
this was a long time ago.
Then or now, whatever.
Just I would listen to mostly like the Ticket sports radio quite a bit.
Yeah, I still do.
For those of you that aren't from around here, the Ticket is a sports radio.
Those guys are hilarious.
Station, yeah.
Yeah. One of those dudes lives in Argyle, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Dunham.
Yep. So, Argyllians.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I still listen to those guys.
Now, I would do that now more in more recent times because I don't deal with traffic here, but I do when I go to the Bay Area.
Yeah.
A lot of times I'll have to stay, either I'm staying far from my office because things are booked, or I have to hit different parts of the Bay Area in one trip, and I generally do Ubers.
Yeah.
So it's not so bad because I'm not driving, but it's still, the traffic out there is horrible. So I usually fire up a podcast or something like that.
Right. You know what I do?
What's that?
I count how many people flip me off.
Well, I'm sure that's a
I'm kidding. I
big
don't.
number.
It has been.
I've seen the way you drive.
It has been. Yeah, I try not to. I try to,
Kyle was like, why does everybody wave at me with their middle finger?
that's
I'm like,
single
Kyle, it's not a good thing.
No, it's not a good thing. But in Texas, the reason why we are, and I'll go back to the study, the reason why, and I'm a part of this, I'm a huge contributor, not that I'm a drunk driver by any means, but we're the fourth worst state in the country to drive in. Do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I believe it.
Yeah, because of all the drunk drivers, because of the speeders, the non-compliance with wearing seatbelts.
Well, and just stupidity.
Yeah.
One time when I was working in downtown, I was heading out, and for whatever reason, I was trying to get, where I-30 comes into Dallas?
Yeah.
And there's kind of that whole mix master with 35 and I-30 and 45
nuts.
and all that junk.
Oh, yeah.
So I was trying to head out and get on I-30 for some reason to go west. And all of a sudden the traffic just stopped. I mean, it just stopped. And it was something relatively close to me. I could kind of see the car that was stopped, but I couldn't tell what was going on.
Oh.
And we just sat there. And then we kind of slowly started creeping forward. I got up. A guy was standing outside, literally peeing.
Oh, no. No.
In the middle of I-35
Huh.
at 5 p.m. in the afternoon.
He doesn't need to be doing that.
Oh.
What was he doing?
So people were waving at him with the middle
finger. Was he crazy or something? Or
He looked like a normal guy. I mean, he looked like a young guy.
Okay.
Looked like a young, kind of hippie kind of dude.
Okay.
Probably driving a little Volkswagen Bug or something, and maybe he was high. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he was just standing in the middle of 35 taking a leak.
Okay. So I've got this
Ridiculous.
I've got this article, and it's by CarInsuranceComparison.com. I had to get my glasses out on that
This segment brought to you by CarInsuranceComparison.com.
Well, I'm trying to cite these things appropriately.
5 minutes will save you $50 million on your car insurance.
Get a lizard and have him walk around and talk to you. I like that little guy. Okay, but anyway, this is pretty interesting, and it's the worst drivers by state. And it gives all 50, but it highlights the top 10. So let me give you the top 10, and I'll be quick about this because it's not that interesting. But 10, North Dakota. There's not enough people up there to drive. But anyway, the 4 people up there, apparently they
don't teach them how to drive up there.
Well, I guess not.
You just learn on the farm truck.
Tied for 8th, Delaware and North Carolina. I don't know. I got nothing there. 7, New Mexico. Again, there's 450,000 people in that state or whatever, and I guess they're all bad drivers. 6, South Carolina. Nothing. 5, Nevada. It's the desert in Vegas. And then 4, Texas. And so, and then you go 3, Louisiana, and they're consistently number 1. Arizona, and then this year, Montana. Isn't that weird?
I don't know.
And they're talking anyway. So I just thought it was kind of an interesting article.
I don't know how official any of these rankings actually are.
I don't either. It's like where are the friendliest people?
How did they determine bad driving?
Oh, it's a big study. But again, you're assuming I'm doing the research and actually looking at the underlying study analytics, which of course I didn't.
Well, I did find an article that talked about a number of things that I would consider to be the definition of bad driving.
No.
And this was in the Houston Press.
Okay.
And the article is talking about Houston's unofficial driving rules and road etiquette for newbies. So the whole premise of the article is if you're a newbie here in Houston, these are the rules. But as I was reading this, I'm kind of like, this is just kind of common sense for everywhere.
I'll tell you something funny before you get into that.
Mm-hmm.
I was driving around with Amy a little while ago, and I noticed that she actually stops at stop signs.
Yeah?
For me, that's a big deal because I rarely do. I know you're supposed to stop. It says stop, and you're supposed to stop. It was just unique because she actually came to a full stop.
I do. I think.
You really stop?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Maybe I'm I'm a reason we're number 4.
You may be, single-handedly. You and Aaron.
Yeah, and let me just tell you, for my contributing stats, when I got into 14 wrecks between the ages of 16 and 19, I got my family cut out of our insurance program, and we got put into the state of Texas high risk pool.
Nice.
It was unbelievable how expensive that was for my family to have insurance.
So what Were all of these your fault, or were any not your fault, or was it
No.
kind of a
Most of them were my fault.
most of them were your fault?
Yeah. I just was not paying attention. I remember I was getting a nickel off the radio one time, and I just ran into somebody. And then I had to make a promise to Amy. This was about 8 years ago. And I was texting, and I was in downtown Dallas, and I was literally texting.
Oh, I remember this. I knew you at this point. I remember this one.
May have only been 7 years ago.
Yeah, I knew you at this one. I've known you.
But
Since
I was in my silver Ram, and I love that truck. But anyway, I you know how you're in bumper-to-bumper traffic, you're at a red light, you kind of glance up, and you're like, okay, they're moving. Somehow I thought they were doing that, and I was kind of looking at my phone, and I let off the gas. I just let off the brake. I didn't even hit the gas. But I hit the car in front of me, but that's how powerful this Dodge Ram was. I hit the car in front of me, which was an Audi. It moved it into the next one, which was like a Lexus. It moved it into the next one, which was a Mercedes, and it moved it into another one, which was some other high-end car. And there was a baby in one of them. Oh, my gosh. It was awful.
You know, I am going to knock on wood big time here because I'm about to say something. I am the opposite of you.
Okay.
I've been in 2 accidents in my entire life,
Oh, wow.
and both of them were years ago. One was when I was about 19, I think.
Okay.
And this one was my fault. I was sitting in I had just gotten off the highway onto a service road, and I decided to get over into the next lane over, pulled over, and boom, somebody hit me. So I think it was technically their fault because they hit me.
Yeah.
But it was really me.
Yeah.
The other one was when Kendra was pregnant with Andrew. So this was 21 years ago.
Oh, that's scary.
Kendra and I went to see Fiddler on the Roof at over in Fort Worth.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
It was awesome.
It was awesome.
So we're driving back, and we're on 35W over here, driving back, and just cruising along. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, I remember it was a white Ford pickup truck. It was probably like a mid-'80s model truck. It was an older truck that was in front of us. Suddenly, it goes over to the shoulder without any warning. We're going like 70 miles an hour. Suddenly, it goes to the shoulder, and then there's a car stopped.
Oh, no.
Right there. There's no traffic. There's this car stopped.
But you can't do anything at that point.
Well, what I did was I kind of hit the brakes, went over onto the the side of the road.
Yeah.
And I didn't hit that car.
Wow.
But then the car behind me hit me.
Oh, no.
Hit us in the back, and Kendra was pregnant, which kind of freaked me out.
Yeah.
But, the safety system kicked in. Actually, our seats went backwards when this happened. So it went backwards. We were fine.
You didn't pull a Carrie Underwood and just let go of the wheel and...
Jesus, take the wheel?
Yeah.
No.
Did you do that?
No. But the guy who hit us was named Jesus.
What? That is awesome. That is so...
Jesus loved to party, but he died for your sins.
What? Okay.
His name was Jesus. Jesus. But on all the insurance stuff, that was our joke. It's like, well, if you're gonna get in a car accident, at least
do it with Jesus.
Do it with Jesus. Yeah,
that's right.
That's the last accident I've been involved.
Yeah, no, I am not. I am not proud of being a wrecker. But
I'm knocking on serious wood because by telling that story, I've just jinxed myself.
No, you haven't.
Big time.
No, you're a great driver. Well, as a result of me doing that stupid thing 8 years ago or whenever it was, I had to promise Amy, I'm like, I won't be texting while I'm driving. So if you're texting me, just call me because I'm not going to respond. Now she says, oh, well, what if you're at a stop? I'm like, well, exactly. That's when I got in this wreck. Yeah. So I need to just kind of go cold turkey.
So I got the new thing turned on my phone that will it doesn't show me text while I'm driving.
That's better.
And then you can click on whoever's in your favorites list. It sends them an automatic reply back saying, I'm driving right now, not going to get a response for a while, blah, 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 blah.
I think I get that from you all the time anyway. I think you've just got that automatically.
Oh, for you, yeah. You're in that other category. Do not disturb.
Ever.
But I have actually busted myself a couple times since I've had this. Because I'll have to admit, occasionally I will think of something as I'm driving, and I will fire off a quick text.
Okay.
And so what has happened is I've fired off a quick text Kinder responds, and then she immediately gets that, I'm driving.
Yeah, you're so busted.
I'm busted.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, that's the worst thing.
Okay.
That is the worst,
All right.
is texting and driving.
No.
It may be worse than drunk driving. There have been some studies done.
Yeah, I'd like to
On
research that some more because you do seem impaired. When your mind is on something else so hard on your communications with whatever, I like all those billboards, you get the little green thing with the 1 on it. It can wait. That text can wait. It can, And if it's that big a deal, then why don't they just call you?
Yeah.
But then again, the man bun millennials, they have to text.
Man, but
I don't understand why they can't call each other. It's like, dude, just call me on the phone.
It's like, dude, I prefer an asynchronous form of communication. A phone call is too much of a commitment for me.
No, it's not. Just
I actually
call
told
me.
our buddy Chris Wood that one time years ago.
What?
Because I would text him,
Yeah.
and he would call me immediately.
He did that. He still did that to
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
And so one time I told him, I said, dude, I texted you because I did not want to engage in a conversation. This is an asynchronous form of communication
See,
here.
and
You
I-
just get back to me whenever.
See, and I.
But he's like, dude, I'm driving
That's right. A big rig.
a big rig truck.
That's right.
I'm going to call you. I'm like, okay,
No,
I'll give you a
that's right.
pass on that.
Well,
Yeah.
he's always done that with me too, and good for him. Because instead of a handshake, a lot of times I'll just go in for the bro shake. Now I'm like, we just bring it in. Just let's hug now. After we went through that, I'm just into hugging.
What
now.
does that have to do with
Well, instead of
Texting and
texting, it's a much more.
you visit them in person and give them a hug?
No,
I'm not connecting the dots.
I'm not
at all.
either. I'm just being stupid. So,
Well,
Okay,
let me go
so-
through these real
yeah,
quick.
go
So,
back
because
through.
we hit a couple. So here are the rules, and
Okay.
they say this is for Houston. I would say this is for Texas driving in general, maybe even for all driving.
Sure.
Number 10. This goes, like David Letterman top 10. Don't stop at yield signs.
Yeah, people are terrible about that now.
Terrible about that. Don't stop at a yield. Stop at a stop sign though.
Drives me
Kyle.
crazy.
Kyle, stop sign we stop at. Yield sign we don't have to.
That's probably
You
yeah,
treat stop signs as if they are yield signs.
that's not good.
But yeah, that drives me crazy.
Well, especially getting off a freeway. Mm-hmm. People don't honor that yield. And
Oh,
you're
that's
like,
bad.
Oh no, it's terrible, but nobody does it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, that's bad. Number 9, drive faster.
okay.
Don't be grandma in the fast lane slowing down traffic on I-35 in rush hour.
Yeah.
Just step on it.
All right.
Number 8, don't hesitate at green lights.
Oh. Yeah, see, that's bad.
If
That's
it's green,
bad.
you just go.
No, that's bad advice. Or if it turns yellow, go faster.
Well, that's not what it's. This is saying if you're stopped at a red light.
I know a lot of people, me included, that used to have that theory. It was green, you're like counting the seconds, and then you're like, okay, I think I can make. And then it turns yellow, and you just nail it.
Yeah.
You just floor it.
This is saying sitting at a green light is what this is talking about. So you're sitting at a light, it's red, and then it turns green.
Oh no, you need that.
It's just
kinda,
like get going.
Yeah, no.
Don't
see,
sit there.
My 16 and 19-year-old self would say, peel out
Yeah.
as fast as you can. Beat the next guy.
Yeah, you don't have to do that, but just just get going.
No, now
Don't
you
be sitting there texting.
now you need to wait.
Get moving.
You need to wait that split second to make sure no other crazies coming across and making the yellow light into the red.
I guess that's true.
Anyway, that's the old guy in me talking now.
Rule number 7. I think this one is really relevant to Texas. Pay attention to other cars, not other drivers. So in other words, pay attention to the cars, but you don't need to be, howdy, how you doing? Hey, George. I've done that so many times at that intersection at 407 and
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Gibbons over here.
Yeah.
Because I'll see you there or I'll see
Yeah.
Amy there.
Yeah.
Like, hey, yeah, waving out the window. How you
Yeah.
doing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know.
I'll
They say that's a rule.
I'll try not to.
Yes, the line is long to get on 45 south from I-10, but that doesn't mean you get to cut.
No.
This is one.
I see a lot of people cut through parking lots and all that. To
Well, this is more. You're sitting in traffic,
Oh yeah.
and there's clearly a line,
Yeah. And you go.
and somebody goes around and cuts in front. That's what this is
Oh.
talking about.
I've seen the cowboys out there.
That's not cool.
No. The cowboys that see that and they just ooch over and cut them off.
Oh yeah, drive you into the ditch.
That's right.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of that.
yeah. So don't do that.
Yeah.
Number 5, watch out for bike riders and motorcyclists. For the love of God is what it says.
See, you know
I mean, as
what?
a cyclist,
As a
I would
cyclist,
agree with that.
Yeah, no. I fear the white work truck more than anything when I'm on my bike.
Yeah?
Because, they don't care. They're going to come right by you. They're not going to give you that 3-foot alley. They're going to just buzz you, and they may clip you with their mirror.
The irony of the whole thing is before I started riding bikes, I could not stand the bikers on the road.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I wasn't mean to them, but I was just like, dude, why are these guys? They got their Lance Armstrong tights on. They think they're something.
That's right.
Getting on my nerves. But then after I started riding, I realized it's pretty dangerous, man.
It's very dangerous.
People cut you off. They blow.
Well, that's why I try to ride out in the sticks so there's nobody out there. Mm-hmm. So,
Number 4, mentally prepare yourself for undue aggression.
oh yeah, people just drive around pissed off nowadays. That's all there is to it.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Someone cuts you off. It's gonna make you angry. Don't go full road rage.
No.
Have you ever had a full blown road rage moment?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just too chill for that. But no, I've been very angry with people for being very stupid.
Yeah.
But I don't do the flip off. I've honked. I honk at people.
I honked at an old man this week.
An old man?
I was in Kroger.
Oh.
I was in Kroger, and this dude cut me off.
An old guy?
Yeah.
Oh.
He cuts me off to try to get in faster into this line so he could get this parking place. I mean, who cares? I mean, it's Kroger, for crying out loud. So anyway, this dude's cut me off. I blow the horn at him. I look at him. He looks at me. He's like, 90-year-old grandpa.
Oh.
I'm like, what are you doing, Grandpa?
You just need to give that guy a hug.
I guess so.
Now, what
He was old, senile.
What's really awkward is when somebody cuts you off and you park next to them.
I was hoping to park next to this man, but there was nothing available.
I have done that before,
Yeah.
and I just kind of smile and wave. I mean,
Were you the guy that cut off or had been cut off?
I'd been cut off.
Yeah.
And they just jumped in front of me, and I go 2 spots down, pull in, get out before they get out. I'm
Say,
like,
bless your heart.
bless your heart, you stupid idiot. Yeah.
Number 3, if you're in the right-hand lane on a street, you better be turning right.
Yeah.
You ever had that happen?
Oh, gosh, I've done that a bunch.
You're at a stoplight where there's the arrow to turn right.
Oh, yeah, no, I've done
And you're sitting there.
I've been
And
there.
the arrow is on, and the guys in front of you is going straight.
Yeah.
That's annoying.
I've been party to a lot of that personally, where I just get confused. I'm like, I see the arrow, but anyway, I've done that. Sorry, Texans.
Rule number 2: if there's a fender bender on the freeway, move.
Yeah,
Move.
You got to move.
Don't be a rubbernecker.
No.
Rule number 1. This applies to Houston, especially. Maybe Austin also. Driving downtown requires reading comprehension and rule following for real.
Yeah.
Sorting out the downtown streets in Houston is not easy.
I'm telling you what, if I didn't have Waze, I don't know how I'd navigate
Waze
through
is the best.
any of the mix masters in any of the big cities.
Yeah.
Especially Houston and Dallas.
Yep.
Those two are ridiculous.
The downside to Waze is now I rely on it so heavily that I really don't know how to get places if I don't have Waze. If my cell phone battery is dead.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're hosed.
I could have gone to the same place 300 times, but being guided by Waze, it doesn't gel in your brain.
No, you're just a robot following orders.
Yes. Yeah.
And listening to podcasts or whatever else you're doing, but you're not thinking critically about, I'm going west right now.
Yep.
I've gone west for 10 miles, and then to get home, I need to go east 10 miles.
Yeah. There's none of that going on.
No, it's just I'm robotically following this mapping.
Mm-hmm.
When's the last time you had a physical map book in your car?
I don't remember. Been a long time.
I was guessing. I was trying to think through. So Caroline's 17. I think it's been at least 18 years for me. I can't say the full 20.
Because if you remember, I'm going to take you down memory lane here a little bit. If you remember before we had the apps like Waze or whatnot,
yeah,
we had
those Garmins.
There was the Garmin era, and then before the Garmin era, there was the MapQuest. You remember MapQuest?
No.
It was the precursor to Google Maps. It was online.
Was that the portable that you put on the windshield?
No. This was just a website. So you would go to a website and say, "I'm going to Reunion Arena.
Yeah, please map
Give
it out.
me directions,
and I'm gonna print this out.
print it out,
and I'll
and
take
take
it
it.
with. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
So we've got the app era now. Then we had the Garmin prior to that. Then we had the MapQuest prior to that.
Prior to that, it was just books. You had a
Maps
map.
Go. Remember the Maps Go?
Oh, yeah. And it was kind of fun because, you could look at all these little back roads and be like, oh, I'm going to take this creative, interesting route to, to get out to Paris, Texas. I'm going to go through whatever. I'm going to go up and then over 82 and, you can't do that now. Well, now you can now with these mapping apps. Like there's this thing on Waze, and you can hit routes, and it'll give you all these multiple routes. But
I'll pick a route. Yeah.
But she'll pick the route that's the quickest, less traffic, all that. And I always hit, okay, do that.
Yeah. The Waze is phenomenal.
It is.
Kendra used to be the navigator on our trips back in the old days. She would have the map,
Yeah.
and she would map everything out, and
Oh yeah.
very meticulously, and
We ought to show our kids that. Mm-hmm. We ought to show our kids how to navigate. Because I try to teach all three of my kids. I'm like north, south, east, west. I'm like, okay, you got to know this in case you get low. Well, Dad, I just have my phone and pull it out, and Anyway, I think that's important to know general wayfinding. If you and I've actually read. This is a tangent, but I've read a couple of books and watched a couple of shows on survival skills. Mm-hmm. What happens if you get out in the middle of the Llano Estacado and your car dies and your phone dies and all that? Do you have a survival pack that you carry with you all the time?
No.
Well, you should.
No, I know.
Just saying.
I'll carry Sammy with me. She's got it all.
She's got her Hermione purse with her. That's so great.
She literally pulled a first aid kit out one time.
Oh, yeah. So I carry a first aid kit with me in all of my cars wherever I go. And a matter of fact, last night I was picking up the kids at the movie, and another dad sitting there. Now we sat there for 30 minutes because we thought the movie was going to end here, and it ended here. Anyway, life as a dad.
Yeah.
Anyway, but his truck died, and he came, knocked over. He saw my little Argyle sticker on the back. He knocked on the window, and he said, "Hey, man, you got some jumper cap?" I'm like, "Of course I do." So opened it up, jumped him.
Yeah.
Off we go.
Yeah, jumper cables are good to have.
Yeah. I don't know if you can do that in New York City.
What about mass transit, speaking of New York City?
So, yeah, mass
You use
transit.
the subway up there.
And I got us turned around. I get turned around in New York.
Yeah.
Because I love the subway, but I still can't decipher. Mm-hmm. And once you get down underground, you can't use kind of icons to see which way to go. Mm-hmm. So last January, we were up there seeing Hamilton for Caroline Sweet 16. And I said, well, let's go ride the subway from here to there. And I got us. We were going out to the Bronx.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not right.
We went up there with our boys, and Andrew was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because I've always been intimidated by the subway. So I would ride the subway if I had someone there to guide me. But I didn't,
Right.
If I didn't, then I would just hop in a cab because I didn't care.
It's easier.
Just hop in a cab.
Nowadays, it's just
Yeah.
hit the Uber app, and
Or
here
Uber.
comes an SUV, and you're off to the next
Man,
thing.
when we had Andrew with us, he had never been to New York. He downloaded an app, and within 15 minutes, he was like an expert on the whole system. And literally, yes, you
Yeah.
were.
I don't remember.
You were.
Attaboy.
You guided us. You guided us on the subway to Brooklyn, to the Bronx, to the baseball game. All of that was you using this app.
I downloaded the same
Yeah.
app, and I got us completely lost. So he's just smart.
Well, you did a good job when we went to New York a few years ago for the bike ride.
That was fun. We did that 5 boroughs ride, the 41-mile bike ride around the 5 boroughs of New York City. That was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun riding the subway in our biking gear.
Well, I thought I looked pretty decent. Not sure about you, friend. So Kevin goes in there in his biking shorts and his helmet all clipped on, and anyway, he got some funny
Looked like
looks.
special needs rider. They give you a special seat.
Yeah, no, you looked fine.
There were 35,000 other people riding bikes that day, so I didn't think I would stand out that bad, but apparently I did. Apparently others got the memo to not go on the subway with just their raw, tight spandex shorts on. Yeah.
You looked a little Richard Simmons.
I did.
But it was a good look. You
Thank
look,
you.
You look special. That's fantastic. But no, we just don't have that here. So yeah, knowing when I've gone to Chicago, I just love Chicago too, and I've gone.
You ride the L up there?
Yeah, gone to the Cubs games, and you ride the L, and oh my gosh, so many drunk people after a baseball game.
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's interesting. You know, it's interesting, and it's very efficient. You just hop on, and away you go. Mm-hmm. So. But I mean, in the big cities, we do have Uber and cabs are great. You know, everybody use Uber or Lyft or whatever.
Yep.
So it's all good. But yeah, no, I think things are changing. And then, what does the future look like to us? I mean, you see all these movies like iRobot and Blade Runner and all that stuff and Star Wars and whatever. Are we, I did read this one thing about these autonomous cars, and I can't wait for that because, number one, I'm not a very good driver. And to have these defensive mode, robotically, driven cars, I think that's awesome. So Elon Musk is saying we're going to have these Teslas in production in 2018, and on 2021 they're going to be operational. It's 2018 now, so that says in 3 years. And we've already got state laws here in Texas that say it's okay to have self-driven cars. But you have to do certain things, and then nobody knows how to really write the laws for it or insure them or all that. But
it's really cool when you get into it. I see these a lot around my office in Mountain View, California.
Yeah,
because we're not far from the Google campus where they are literally testing these things, and I see them all the time driving around.
Wow.
And it's kind of cool to see just a car roll by and somebody's just sitting there reading the newspaper. And this thing's driving along, but. The cool thing is, and who knows how quickly we'll get there, but one of the ideas is that if you combine something like an Uber with the self-driving car concept, you may never need to own a car, especially if you live in an urban area.
Right.
You can literally just give me a car through your app. One of them rolls up, it's self-driving, you get in, you go to your next destination. And then if you kind of then think, okay, what is the next kind of logical step beyond that? Well, then let's say you have a town that is only serviced by self-driving cars. We've talked a lot earlier about how, our area is not conducive to mass transit like a subway or whatever. But for cities like this where, literally self-driving cars would be very, very useful here. All right. So imagine, these self-driving cars that, drive themselves home in the evening, park in a parking garage, they get charged up, and then the next day they roll out into the city. They service the town all day.
Right.
You don't need parking lots anymore. You don't need parking garages anymore. I know you were in the real estate development business in the past. Imagine what you could do with a development if you didn't have to worry about parking or parking garages, right? Imagine how much extra land space you could use and how cool it could be.
Oh.
So there's a lot of thinking going into that. I don't know how realistic all of that is.
I love it, though.
But it's really, really cool to think about the possibilities of that.
Well, I love it. And those that traffic engineering podcast, they were nerding out over that. They were saying, just imagine travel without any kind of stop signs or street signs at all, because these computer-driven vehicles are calculating defensively how they can fly through, time it so they're flying through an intersection at 60 miles an hour, and there's no stops. It's just all timed, back and forth. And then if you're saving that many lives and that kind of defensive mode driving, you can take a ton of weight off of the cars because, and it would require less fuel. And anyway, it was just really, really interesting. You just need lighter weight cars that, because there's not the danger of collisions, Anyway, I just thought it was fantastic.
It's a cool concept. There's some concepts where you can, you get in these things and they're designed to hold, 6-8 people, and you can reconfigure them kind of on the fly. So if we wanted to face each other like we're doing now, we can do that or whatever. Because we don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about anybody having to drive.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can also kind of control rather than just looking out a window, you can click a button and say, I want to see the Rocky Mountains, or I want to see,
oh, wow,
I want to watch a movie, I want to see a TV show.
Oh, that's fun.
You can completely control
you can watch
the
Fantasy
visual
Island.
aspects of it.
That'd be great. Tattoo. Yeah.
Boss, the plane.
It'd be great if we could do that.
Yeah. And then the other aspect of it is, I know we're kind of geeking out here, but ask a geek about geeky stuff. This is what you get. But the other one is, how will the cars then communicate with people? Because that's all done manually today too, right? If you pull up to a stop sign and somebody is standing there waiting to cross, there's a communication that happens. And it may be just a quick, eye contact where you nod ahead and that lets them know that they can cross. We just kind of do these things without thinking about it. How would an autonomous car do that? I've seen some prototypes where the car will pull up and to acknowledge to the person standing there that it knows about them, it will actually broadcast a virtual crosswalk onto the ground in front of it,
Oh, wow. That's cool.
which just says, I know you're going to cross here.
Free to go. I'm not going to smash you.
Walk across, shoop, turns it
Nice.
off,
Okay,
and then
man.
it rolls on.
That's cool.
Lots of really cool stuff.
I just want a pleasant sounding computer talking to me about, hey, take me over to Kevin's in my big, virtual truck or whatever.
Virtual truck. Virtual horse.
tractor or something. Oh, yeah.
Self-driving horse.
That'd be even better.
Horses are pretty much self-driving.
But what comes after? But what comes after that? I mean, do we ever get to the land speeders or the?
I don't know,
spaceships
man.
or
I've been
whatever?
looking for that my whole life ever since I watched the first episode of the Jetsons.
Oh yeah, me too.
The
I love
Jetsons,
that.
where they flew around.
Yeah,
And they go in home after school and push a button, and it would spit out a chocolate milkshake.
right.
I've been waiting for that forever.
Well, I'm telling you that Blade Runner thing. If you go back and look at Harrison Ford's movie from 1 billion years ago, I mean, it's creepy like that too. But it's all these spaceships and these interconnected kind of spaceship highways between. Anyway, it's cool. It's all sci-fi to me, and of course, one of my favorite movies ever, Star Wars, and the land speeder was awesome. But they go everywhere in spaceships. But then now you look at the Hyperloop, that's coming up. I don't know if you've studied that.
I don't think they're going to allow that to happen because of the tire industry. The tire industry is lobbying against that. I'm going to start a new conspiracy theory right
the
now.
tire industry. I don't know about that. So
I'm kidding.
But the
I'm kidding, I'm
Hyperloop,
kidding.
just the physics behind it.
Oh, that's killer stuff.
it's phenomenal.
That's so awesome.
The question is, how do you put a bathroom in one of those Hyperloop trains?
Oh, man.
That's important
You
to
just
me.
got to let it rip. And
No, you don't. You're going like a.
you got to let it rip, clean it up when you stop.
No, you don't. No, it all slams up against the window.
Everybody's issued a raincoat when they board.
That is the worst idea.
We haven't quite figured this part out yet, so
Yeah.
just raincoat, and then you'll shower off when we get out. It's like coming off the beach. You step in the shower, wash the sand off, just wash the crap and pee off.
That is not. That is.
But we're going to get you there really fast.
Well, it is going to be fast and low energy. I like the whole Hyperloop idea. So if you haven't listened to that, listen to some podcasts on the Hyperloop because it's really interesting.
And then how does that connect to Texas? Well, there's a lot of thought about how do we make, rapid transportation between, the triangle.
That's right.
Dallas, Austin, Houston.
Yeah.
Whoever solves that will clean up.
Well, and they're talking about a Hyperloop between L.A. and San Francisco where you can get on it from L.A., go to dinner in San Francisco after an hour Hyperloop drive or 45 minutes, go to dinner there, have fun or a night out, and then 45 minutes back to L.A. I mean, how crazy is that?
Yep.
Anyway,
It'll be here.
good stuff.
Cool.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for listening to us in our ramblings on traffic in Texas. So, any closing thoughts or observations?
Find us. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker. Give us a like.
All over the place now.
Leave a review. We would appreciate it.
All four of you. We appreciate that. Thanks for being good friends.
If those four would tell four others, then they tell four others, and so on and so on.
That was a shampoo
That
commercial.
was a shampoo commercial. It was brilliant.
Except it was only two.
They'll tell two friends, and they'll tell two friends, and
You
so
sound
on,
just
and so
like
on,
her.
and so on.
It was Julie from the Love Boat. Anyway. All right. Hey, thank you all. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.